Hi guys, what's up? It's Will and John back again for another edition of the MMA Huddle. We're here. We're going to kind of give you a quick picks one because this card doesn't deserve any elongated, long chats about it because this might be the worst card of the year, possibly. So we're not going to spend all our night, especially now at 10:15, talking about these fights. We're going to quickly go through them. We're going to talk a little bit about the main event from last week and a couple of talking points throughout that. But before we start talking about that, and then we'll talk a little bit betting at the end, of course. Before all of that, like, comment, subscribe. If you can just keep on subbing. If you're new to the channel, you like what you see, hit that sub button. John's going to be doing interviews coming up with UFC Copenhagen fighters very, very shortly. Some good fighters on that card that he's going to be interviewing, and a certain UFC debutant who's coming in, who's going to have a lot of hype coming from the valleys. So keep an eye out for that. Like I say, we're going to talk about UFC Vancouver. I think John's ready to go. Anything you want to say, John?
No, bro. Just let's do this.
Yeah. So we're going to go into the card from Vancouver this past weekend. It was Cowboy Cerrone, Justin Gaethje. And for me, Justin Gaethje has really kind of solidified himself as next in line after Tony Ferguson, and maybe get a big fight before that, depending who comes back and who wants to fight who. So I'll throw it over to you, John. What do you thought about the main event? What did you think about the kind of ref stoppage? Because I know that Justin Gaethje had a kind of little bit of a grumble about that, and just anything else you really want to talk about?
I can almost see why Gaethje felt hard done by with the stoppage not being a bit sooner. But Cowboy was still moving in some facet, so in a way he didn't stop. So the referee, when you're getting punched, the referee wants you to keep moving. So he was in effect trying to move, adjust, continue the fight. But the referee obviously let it go on a little bit longer than one or two punches than it should have. I'm not going to gripe it. I've seen worse. I'll be honest with you. But yeah, he has solidified himself after Tony. I think you've got to try Tony. But again, I would put Gaethje on the same card. I would put him on the card, even if, and put him against someone. Do you know, you could even do, him against Conor. You know, you could do Ferguson, Khabib, Conor, and Gaethje. That way you can appease having a pay-per-view for Conor, having the co-main. Then if Conor does win, big one, it's a big if he wins, he could then start smack talking for the title defence to get that fight against Khabib. Or vice versa, if Gaethje wins, he can proclaim to get himself a title shot. So I'd like to see something like that happen. I know Conor tweeted out saying December 14th. I don't know if he must have tickets to Mrs. Brown's Boys, which is touring in Dublin. So on that day, he must be talking about that because there's a UFC pay-per-view on in Vegas. So that's all I can imagine happening there.
Pretty much. Do you like the Gaethje McGregor fight? I think everybody would like it, but do you think it's realistic?
I think probably for the UFC, the more realistic one's Poirier and McGregor. If I'm the UFC, I'll do that one because it's a more chance for Conor possibly to win that fight because he's won before. There might be a bit more of a chance for him. I think the Gaethje one's a bit of a risk taker. You know, do you risk getting Conor to lose again? Like, I'm still perplexed about how he's in that lightweight rankings, but the people who do the rankings need, to take their head for a shit. But yeah, I'd probably suggest maybe Conor and Dustin next, but I'm not there to decide.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea putting Conor back in Ireland. I really don't. I think he's lost a lot of fans. I think it'll build bridges a little bit with that, bringing him home to fight. Poirier's actually got a lot of fans. I think in Ireland he made a lot of, when he was supposed to fight Joe Duffy. That guy was mobbed all week, and he was the nicest guys with fans. He would sit down with them, he would talk with them, spend a bit of time. So that guy's definitely got some fans, and it's a good fight to make. Poirier's at a different spot in his career right now. He's absolute beast at 155. McGregor's obviously beaten before, so there's the backstory with that. And honestly, I don't know. Justin Gaethje, I said on Saturday after the fights, I was like, Conor McGregor does not want to fight Justin Gaethje. Now, and he doesn't turn down many people. He doesn't turn down fights, really. He will fight the best. He's fought the best. So, in saying that, but I think Justin Gaethje a year ago was an easier opponent than he is now. I think back then he was more of that berserker style. This year, his fights, he's played the role of picking his strikes very, very well, being patient and not going kind of gung-ho, but still going gung-ho. It's weird. But he picks his shot. He's picked his last few fights. He's picked his shots really, really well, and the guy's got some really quick counter striking as well. So the guy is just an absolute magician in the cage. He really is. It's just the fun that he gives you. You know, when you're watching his fights, that it's not going to go the distance. You're going to get fireworks, as he said. He's either getting knocked out or his opponent's getting knocked out. So it's going to be fun for everybody. And he says he doesn't want to face the Irish. If he got offered that fight, he's going to take that fight 100% for the simple. It's going to line his pockets, and even if he loses that fight to McGregor, I don't think he really loses all that much stature within that division, because
he's lost to Eddie Alvarez and Dustin. It's still not really affected too much, because that top 5 is a shark tank.
Yeah. And then there's just so many, him against Tony Ferguson, him against Khabib. I think he could give Khabib an absolute great fight. I'd be really interested to see that. So I think he's next in line. I think that's pretty clear. Interesting to see what comes of it. But kind of outside of that, the other thing that I kind of really wanted to talk about was Michel Pereira, that crazy mad bastard who came in, missed weight. There's a big story behind that, I think, but he came in super, super heavy into fight week, and it kind of cost him. He was like a pound over, and I think that really affected him.
It really cost him.
Going into the fight, yeah, it really did. There was a lot of when, at the time I was watching the fight, I never usually try and stay up for fights all that much anymore, but that was when he drew me in. I knew I was going to have an entertaining fight to watch, and he drew me in at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. And his entrance to the cage was spectacular. It was quite funny. And then he started doing his stuff in the cage. And I had people message me on the Sunday saying, "Who is this guy?" And I was like, "Look, go look. This is what he does. He does backflips. He does all types of crazy shit." But that weight cut and him not being able to land that big shot, and this guy who's fights at a lighter weight division, who just managed to keep himself in the fight, and then once he blew his load, he really took over, and big props to that guy, because he's coming in 5 days notice. He won himself the fight of the night, performance of the night. No, he won $100,000 actually for the fight of the night.
He got Pereira's, yeah.
So a huge week for him. Really, really, really good to see a story like that in the UFC. For me, Pereira, I'm still looking forward to his next fight. I want to see this guy fight. I just want to see him be a bit more kind of professional about kind of things, because he's in the big leagues. You don't get any bigger than the UFC for MMA, and you come in there and you're doing that. So I don't know what your thoughts on his shenanigans, but I did enjoy it.
I've got one thought on the aftermath. 185 he's talked about, going back to, right?
Yeah.
Pereira versus Hall.
Yeah, he's huge. He's absolutely massive. Yeah. Did you see the picture he put out last week with? Yeah. He was standing next to. Let me see. It was Antonio Carlos Jr. Yeah. and I think it was Augusto Sakai, and he was bigger than Antonio Carlos Jr.
It's crazy.
Massive.
I would like to see him and Hall, because I think stylistically it'd just be crazy fun.
Fun fight.
Yeah, it'd be a fun ride. I think it'd be a good one, because it's just they're both kind of explosive, flamboyant striking in the middleweight division. I think that'd be a fun one to do.
Yeah, I mean, there was some. I really enjoyed the main card actually. That card. I actually stayed up and watched all of it, which I don't really do. I think Krylov kept me in because I love watching Krylov fights. I could not believe Todd Duffy. He was, for me, he was looking for a way out in that fight big time.
Yeah.
And
He didn't get that quick. I didn't get a win after 1 minute, and that was it. Then he was like, "Nope, I do not want another 14 minutes."
Yeah, it was. I mean, that guy is like, he's had such a weird career with injuries and things happening and all that. It's who knows? Like, and his fights, I don't think I'm ever going to pick him again, really, because you just don't know what's going to come of it. Glover Teixeira, Krylov, I thought it was a fun fight. I had it for Krylov, but I had money on Krylov, so that's probably why I had Krylov. Went back and watched it, I could see why they gave it to Glover.
Yeah.
Good fight, though. And it's the first time that Krylov's been a decision, which was a little bit weird.
Weird
to see
for Krylov, probably.
Yeah. He had an opportunity, he nearly got that choke in Glover, and Glover had a few opportunities where he had guillotine chokes and so on, but fun fight. Yeah. Uriah Hall, I bet him. He got to the end of the week, and I bet him as a massive underdog. He came through. I thought it was the right decision. I think he was a little bit shocked that he came through on that one. But I think Carlos Jr. should move back up to 205. I think that he's got no business at 185 now. He got there and he could definitely beat some guys up there with his size as well. So
I was fuming. I lost how many split decisions were there on the card? Absolutely ruined me, that card did, for split decisions. Fuming.
I thought there was some scorecards in that card which I wasn't like. Someone gave Hunter Azure like a 30-27.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
where did you get that from?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know what you're watching with that, but it is what it is. The Jimmy Crute one had me kind of, I bet Jimmy Crute as an underdog, and then he got up from nearly getting crucifixed against Misha Sarkinov, and then he looked like he was going to pound him out, and then he pulled a stunt and got caught in a Peruvian necktie out of nowhere. Sakai, dangerous guy, I think, with that power. Looks like every fight he's getting better and better, so he's about to probably move in close to that top 10. But really, outside of that, decent fight card. I enjoyed, from what I see. I kind of missed it I watched it from, I think it was the Hunter Azure Brad Katona fight onwards. I watched back the ones before that, but fun card, I suppose. We're going to move on. We're going to get through this UFC Mexico card, which is just... I'm going to go by what's on Wikipedia. Irene Aldana's the very first fight. She's not going to be the very first fight in this card because she's from Mexico and she's a local girl. So, but we'll let it kick off. Irene Aldana against Vanessa. Melo, who you got and why?
I feel bad for Vanessa. I think Aldana's just going to piece her up. I think she's long range striking from Aldana's going to just pick away at Melo. When I watched Melo's fights, I wasn't impressed at all. I thought she was a bit flat-footed. I didn't think her striking was that crisp. And I do think Aldana's a far crisper striker. I think she's a far better fighter than Vanessa is. Now, don't get me wrong, I do think there are holes in Aldana's game, but I don't think Vanessa's at the level to bring it out to really... I think Vanessa should get a comfortable win here, bouncing back off the split against Pennington, which Pennington's a way tougher fight. I think Vanessa will come in. I think Vanessa fought Molly McCann, if I recall, at 125. So I think this is a step in for Melo, and then she gets a chance to go back and maybe go down to 125 and step up and face Molly in the future. You never know. She might feel a lot better at 125 or suit that weight class a lot more. But yeah, I think she'll be outsized and just outclassed in this fight. Really, I don't feel it. Was it? Yeah, it was Molly. Yeah, she beat Molly. Decision a few years back. So yeah, I think that Vanessa's okay, but no, mate, it's Aldana all day long on his skill set. Size, speed will probably be with Aldana as well, because striking actually isn't that bad, and she's got the sub game to her too. So I think Aldana should be able to just put this one away. Probably a TKO finish.
Yeah, I've got Aldana as well. Short notice fight coming into the elevation. That's a big part. I put out a tweet earlier on regarding people who are in Mexico and how long they've been in Mexico, and people that are not even in Mexico yet. So, and this is huge elevation. We've seen that way anytime they go to Mexico, that it affects pretty much everybody, not unless you're out there a full month beforehand. And some people have been out there 3 weeks, 4 weeks in some cases, but it's going to make a big difference, especially coming in here on short notice. You're not going to have to cut as much weight, obviously, because I think she's a flyweight. But I think she's outguns on feet, and I think Aldana's starting to put it all together. I thought she had a good fight against Pennington, But I think she's never going to be a top girl, but she's going to win herself a fair share amount of fights in the UFC. But I've got Aldana, could potentially get a stoppage. I've got a very dominant 30-27 decision. Moving up, this is saying it's a flyweight bout. Sergio Pettis against Tyson Nam. I think it's a bantamweight fight though. Could be wrong. I'm excited to see Tyson Nam. I've known about this guy since he knocked out Dudu Dantes way back. Christ, when was that? That was was that 2012? That was a vicious knockout as well. I think he was the Bellator champion at that point, maybe Dantes, or maybe just before that.
The Ali Bagtinov knockout?
Yeah.
Last second?
Yeah, he's got some decent wins on his record. He's went over to Russia, tried to fight in the cards over there, did all right. I like him. I think he's a really good, well-rounded kind of fighter. But Sergio Pettis here, I'll be interested to see where this fight actually is. If it is at bantamweight or it is at flyweight, because I think Pettis should go back down to flyweight and give it a bash down there. And I thought he looked a more kind of complete fighter. Didn't look undersized, which he will be in majority of his fights. At 135, I think that Tyson Nam's very live in this sport. I really do. I think because he's that good of a fighter. I think he's a very experienced guy. He's coming on nearly 30 fights. He's getting his opportunity in the UFC. But under the bright lights, the big time lights of the UFC, I think Pettis might just edge him out via decision. So I'm going to go Anthony Pettis decision.
Yeah, both of them are done bantamweight and flyweight, so I don't think it really matters for the pair of them. I think flyweight's a smart decision for Pettis to get back in there because it's a bit up in the air at the moment, that division.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to take advantage of it, the time is now to project yourself up a little bit further. I think Pettis is in a tough spot as well, career-wise. I know he's only young, but it seems that he just can't string it together often enough. And same with Norm in his career. If you look at his career, he's always kind of had a little run and he falls short. But I'm going to go with the live wire. I'm going to go with Norm on this one, buddy. Only because I think it's a quite close fight, and I'm just going to go with the little crazy underdog in Norm. I think that he can surprise some people. Powerful, he hits hard. That guy hits goddamn hard. He's got good head kicks, good pop in his hands. I'm going to go, I think he'd maybe catch Sergio at the start in the first round and really put Sergio off a little bit. Probably try and edge it 2-1 decision, maybe get the second and third, but I'm going to go crazy and go for Norm. Why not?
Yeah. I don't mind the kind of shot and a big dog there, by the way. But Claudio Perez against Marcos Mariano.
Oh gosh, we got to talk about this, don't we? Oh, this is awful, isn't it? Absolute dog shit fight. Let's put it that way, folks. I'm not even lying. I think Claudio is a regional fighter at best. I think Marcos got a short notice step in. He's 6-4 or something. He's a regional fighter at best. I'm going to go Claudio. I think Claudio hits a little bit. No, because Marcos got the head kicks. He's not bad with head kicks and distance, but he gets taken to the ground. I think Claudio can get him to the ground and get a submission. Yeah. I just watching Marcos on his back was awful. He just didn't, like a fish out of water. It was strange. It's like, come on, you don't know anything. There's no way you can have nearly 10 fights in your career and don't know what you're doing on your back. He just looked lost. Maybe he was just taking the paycheck to get in to come here and fight this fight. But I've got to go Claudio submission win probably because I just Marcos is so bad. And so is Claudio, to be fair. It's an awful fight. But yeah, I think I'll probably go Claudio for submission.
Yeah, I've got Puelles. This guy, Mariano's, I think he's on the UFC because Anderson Silva did him a massive favour here. They want Puelles to win this fight. He's from that part of the world, I think. So, I like two very low-level guys, but I think Puelles is not bad for a kind of parlay piece this week, actually. I don't think it's a bad parlay piece, actually, having him, because if you get Mariano to the ground, you can get him out of there very, very quick. So I've got Puelles. Women's bantamweight division, I've got Sijara Eubanks against Bethe Correia. I'm going to go with Sijara Eubanks. I'm not picking Bethe here in another UFC fight. The only worry I had with this one here is just it's in Mexico City and Eubanks is gassed out big time in fights before. But at 135, she showed against Aspen Lad that girl can bang really, really hard. She can throw some heavy strikes for 15 minutes and go for it. Correia can't really take many. I just when I look at Bethe Correia, it's like what advantages she got over Sijara Eubanks here. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go Sijara Eubanks. Love the fact she's been in Mexico for 2-3 weeks, so she's getting herself acclimatized. She's kind of with the Alliance crew. They've been out there for weeks on end. Yeah, I'm not picking Bethe here. I'm going to pick Sijara Eubanks, maybe by a knockout, maybe a dominant decision, but I've got Eubanks to win the fight.
Bro, I'm going Eubanks. I just can't put anything on any faith in Bethe. She's not won, I think she had one win since 2015.
Yeah.
And I think if she reran the draw she had with Renee, she'd get absolutely mauled by Renee in a rematch. She's had that. I think this is her first fight since that eye surgery or whatever it is, that eye injury she had. Because she had to pull out of a fight, didn't she? And she had that issue with her eye. She had the surgery. That could be a huge thing in the back of her head. You know, she gets punched in the face. How does her face and how does her eye react? Maybe, you never know. But what the hell does Bethe do? Do you know what I mean? I know you don't look at the mantelpiece when you poke the fire, but even then you'd second guess for her. She is the ultimate definition of that one. But yeah, I just skill set wise, boxing's not that good. She thinks she's good at boxing. She's utter shit. Honestly, she's scraping the bottom of the barrel with her skill set. I think Eubanks can just out wrestle her a bit, mate, and get a couple. At least get first and second rounds. Eubanks can get in and just kind of coast, try and dodge the third round, just get through. But either way, I don't even think Eubanks is going to do that well in the bantamweight. I think she'll get starched and murked by a couple of girls in her further on in her career. But yeah, either way, I'm not fussed about either one of these. But Eubanks win.
Yeah. Up next, light heavyweight division, Vinicius Mamute Moreira against the Bear Jew, Paul Craig. Where do you see it going?
It is a striking etiquette we're going to see here. Two of the best strikers in the UFC. No. Both of them are not very good at striking. They like their grappling and submission work. Now, Vinicius is a higher level of grappler, you know, stronger skill set, higher level of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but he has zero chin. Like, he gets hit in the face, he does not like it. He just crumbles. They're both of them being knocked out by murked by the same dude, Alonso. But, man, I think Craig, I'm going to go wild here, folks. I'm going to say Paul Craig wins with a knockout or TKO over Vinicius because he can't take a punch and his striking's pretty poor. So I'm going to go Paul Craig. Somehow can just hit him once and that'll be enough for him to go crumbling and start TKO with a couple of punches. Yeah,
this Mamute guy, he's shown that like he cannot take a shot at all now. He's not facing an absolute one-hitter quitter here in Paul Craig. And my kind of worry is that Paul Craig is going to want to grapple with him because that seems like that's what he wants to do with people, is he just wants to get them to the ground. And Moreira, that's where he will obviously want this fight to go because that's his strongest point.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't write off Paul Craig in a ground battle with a lot of guys because he can catch people. You can see that he can, like, and you give him the slightest opportunity, he will go after something, and especially, and no matter what time it is in the fight as well, we've seen that he can pull something off. This Moreira guy, like, he is terrible. And would it surprise me if Paul Craig come out there and hurt him with strikes? No. I'm going to pick Paul Craig here. I think that he can. I think he could probably maybe even knock him out with ground and pound if he gets the right position. But yeah, would it surprise me if this guy submits Beardew? Maybe a little, because Beardew, like, he's decent on it. That's his skill set. He's not a striker. He's not a wrestler, even though he's tried to show it recently with takedowns and everything. But I've got Beardew here. I've got him via. I'll pick a stoppage, but this could become really, really sloppy if it goes late as well, like really badly. So yeah, I'll go Beardew. Ariane Carnelossi makes a UFC debut as she steps in here against Angela Hill. Yeah, I'm not like fucking Angela Hill. I mean, Jesus.
She is so on and off Angela Hill, but she's not a tiny strawweight. She was talking about doing atom weight in Invicta.
But I just she loses more fights in the UFC than she wins. I know this girl's coming in isn't that great. She's like she's jacked. She just swings bombs. Doesn't seem to have like real big power. I think that Hill's going to want to really stay on the outside and pop her from the outside, which she could do, but I think she's going to gas herself really, really quickly by doing that. But she has been down there for a long time. She has fought in Mexico City before when she fought Tisha Torres. But if she stays at distance and can keep at a good pace, then she could win. I think she could easily win the decision. But I'm kind of in that spot now where I don't really want to pick Angela Hill in UFC fights anymore. So I'm going to pick this newcomer who, and watching her, she's okay, but she's facing somebody who's also okay. So yeah, give me Carnelossi to win a decision. But like I say, this is just more a fade on Angela Hill because I don't think she's all that good, and I think she never really was. She went into Invicta, she kind of garnered a lot of attention by winning the title through there and then coming back, but I think she's probably lost more than she's won a UFC fight, UFC tenure second time around. So I'll go Carnelossi decision.
To be fair, if you're coming back to UFC 10, you get Jessica Andrade in your first fight. Fuck that.
True.
But yeah, man, Carnelossi. When I watch the fights, she has Muay Thai on a jersey and her clothes. And if you watch her, I tell you what, I don't know what Muay Thai she does, but it ain't fucking Muay Thai. She's flat-footed. When she throws a kick, she doesn't set them up. She doesn't really turn her hips enough into the kicks. I'm just perplexed about her striking. I'm like, okay, she's got an okay, quick, like 1-2, but she's not. Her output isn't great. Like you said, she's jacked. Her pace slows down big time. She hasn't got a very good fight IQ. When she hits someone and hurts them, she doesn't pick the right options. She doesn't pick shots. She just wails on them and misses. I'm going Angela Hill. I think Angela Hill, because you got to remember, like you said, altitude is a big factor in this fight. Angela Hill already been having experience of it. Angela Hill's also been under the bright lights. She's stepping in, debut, altitude. What a horrible debut altitude fight, because she hasn't got the money to go and pre-camp somewhere like that, where Hill will have a bit of funds to do stuff like that. So she's got to go up in altitude on a debut, jitters, blown out of her arse. In a strawweight fight, I know they got good cardio, but even still, she doesn't have the best of output. I'm going to Angela Hill, probably get a decision win, just being able to outstrike her, especially going to second and third round. I think Angela Hill could probably start to distance herself a bit more with the output. But again, it's a fight that these two girls you will not see ever in the top 5 strawweight.
Yeah, just seen there, just having a little deek through Twitter there, that looks like there's a fight for UFC 245 in December. Robbie Lawler against Santiago Ponzinibbio.
Finally, Ponzi's fighting. Do you know what?
So, yeah.
He is one of the guys who should be talked about in the title picture, but he's not getting even a look in.
Yeah.
It's crazy he's been just kind of shone away from the UFC, but I don't know what's going on.
It kind of means I'm just sitting here thinking, I was like, what's for Leon Edwards next? It might be Tyron Woodley, which will be interesting. So, yeah, but that's card back down December. But getting on with this one. Polo Reyes against Kyle Nelson. Who you got?
I'm going to go with...
And it's down at featherweight, by the way.
Yeah,
Polo Reyes is dropping to a new weight class.
Kyle's big as well for featherweight. Kyle's a big lad. I think Kyle kind of mentally goes, though, in the fight. You see it in the fights. But Polo Reyes, if you get on top of him, you can have a bit of success in the fights. I'm going to go with Reyes. Because do you know what? I like Reyes. I think that dude is a fun-ass guy to watch, man. He's a fun fighter to bring it. He's in one of my all-time favourite fights. And with Kyle looks good in the first round. He's got good power. But then he can just, like the Sale fight was a good one, a good example where he got, maybe almost should have got finished in the first. Second round he came back, but the third round he kind of just lost. I know he lost, but he just kind of lost faith in himself. It was weird. There was like a negative kind of look to himself. And yeah, I think, altitude is going to be a factor, obviously, for both of them. Huge one. But I'm going to go with Reyes. Again, I think it's a pick and fight because I think Nelson could crack. He cracks hard, Nelson. He's game for a fight, but I just think Reyes can just, a bit of experience, bit of knowledge. He can maybe get away with this fight and get a good win on him for a featherweight fight.
Yeah, it's like I'm not Like this is like one of those flip a coin, see where it lands. But I don't want to pick Carnelossi because I don't think he's that good. But when I talk about Polo Reyes, I don't think he's that good either. So
No.
I'm going to go with the hometown guy here. Kyle Nelson's literally he's not even in Mexico yet. We've seen him gas really badly in
Yeah.
his fights. Reyes has done a little bit as well, but the kind of worry is that Polo Reyes is coming down to 145, where it was only 2 months ago, I believe it was, June 29th. So 3 months,
3 months. Yeah.
just short of 3 months where he got knocked out viciously in the first round. Like viciously, and he's going to a new weight class. And Nelson does come out quick, he swings hard, it looks quite strong, but gas is really quick. This, to me, I think, but when he lands, when he lands Polo Reyes, he usually wins a bonus off of it. So
Yeah.
he did it against Frivola. I'm going to go with Mexico here. I think that's going to play a big part. But would it surprise me if Kyle Nelson knocks him out? No. But my pick's going to be Polo Reyes in this spot here. Bantamweight division, Teco Quiñónez against Carlos Huachin. Initially, I thought Carlos Huachin was somebody that I thought had a good chance to win this fight, and he opened as a big underdog. And if you got the odds, he was plus 175. I thought that's not bad odds at all because Teco's a big favourite. The lines have closed. Teco's more of a plus minus 150. And now going back in when I watched a little bit of Joaquin because he was fighting Juan with Barcelos, and Barcelos is one of my guys I really like watch fight. But I think Quiñónez is just he can stay competitive on the feet. I think Joaquin, that's where he wants to keep the fight on there and box and throw leather. But once he gets to the ground, and I know Barcelos is really good in the ground. Quiñónez hasn't got really that kind of smothering top game and jiu-jitsu style which Barcelos has. But I think he can get takedowns. I think Carlos can get back to his feet. And I think he can rinse repeat. I think he's going to win a decision at home. I think he's going to do enough to win a decision. So I've got Jose Quiñónez via a unanimous decision here.
Yeah, I think Carlos will land a couple of good shots on Quiñónez, trying to close the distance down, trying to close the range, because he just swing that. Carlos just swings heavy. The problem is, though, that's what, if you look at his regional fights, that's what he does. He just brawls with guys, and he just lands that heavy punch on the guy and puts him down. But it's not going to be a style that will get you far in this division. And one of the things, like you say, the wrestling side of things, Quiñónez can probably get on top. And he might be able to sneak in a submission here or there, a quick guillotine or something on the scrambles. But Quiñónez, I don't even rate that much anyway, to be fair. He's got a proper BJ Penn mental stand-up right position, posture. It's weird. But, yeah, I'm going Quiñónez as well. I think he can just get the win, decision win, or maybe even a submission later on. Because, again, altitude's a big factor. Gosh, especially if you're grappling and you're getting taken down and getting up a few times, it's exhausting, man. Especially in altitude, that'd be horrible. So he can maybe get a submission later on when he's a bit tired and catch him out when he's not concentrating.
Yeah, these are the fights he should win. When you're facing, like he had Nathaniel Wood last time, he's not going to do good in fights like that. This Carlos Joaquin is not going to the trajectory that someone like Nathaniel Wood is. So I would expect him to win this fight. I'd be kind of surprised if Joaquin comes out here and wins pretty dominantly. But yeah, moving on, Martin Bravo against Stephen Ocho Peterson. Who you got?
Fight I'm uber excited about again.
I think it could be. I think it has the potential to be really fun though.
Should be a brawlish style.
Yeah, that's why I think it'd be good.
Yeah, so that is about it on it. I think they'll technically won't be the best fight, but I think they'll be brawling because do you know what? Bravo comes forward, so does Peterson, and they don't have that. I don't want to say technical ability, but Peterson's been there a little bit early. He's a week there early, so
Yeah.
it's not a huge difference, but it'll make a difference.
Does.
Yeah. So and when I've watched it, when I first saw the fight get announced, I kind of thought. I was trying to remember myself. I was trying to remember Bravo and what he'd done. I thought, actually, when I think about it, they both lost to Caceres, and I was like, all right, awesome. And he got clipped with that left hand by Caceres a few times, Bravo. And I just think, though, he's just going to walk into Peterson's combinations. I think Peterson's got a better kind of handle on the combination sides. I think Bravo can get takedowns at the start, but the issue is consistently getting takedowns when you're second, third round on that altitude. It's a bit harder. Sweat can play a factor. I'm not uber keen on this pick, but I'm going to go for Peterson. I think he can just land a few more. He'll take a punch, but he can land a good combination back. But would I care who wins? Not really. But I'm going to go Peterson.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I've picked Peterson in a few fights. I think this is not a bad matchup for him. I think both guys kind of backs against the wall. Both guys, I think, both lost to Alex Caceres last time, but the kid can take a shot. Like, he really can't, and he's one that will not stop going after takedowns as well. I think Bravo might actually play into his kind of handle it by maybe him trying to take him down and getting reversed and then getting taken down. But like I said, I like the durability of Peterson. I like how he just goes, doesn't stop, even though he's completely gassy. He will throw, he will try his hardest. He might not be, he's not one of the greatest, like he's really not all in all a great fighter, but he fights and he will go and he will try until the bitter end pretty much. And I think for Bravo, I think that the only kind of aspect that he's got an advantage here is the fact that it's at home. It's in Mexico. I've got Steven Peterson. I picked him when he's a big underdog. I think it's a pick 'em fight now. I think this is a winnable fight for him, so I'm going to pick him in that one there. This is a good fight. We're in the block of fights here, which I really like. Brandon Moreno against Askar. Askarov, who's making his UFC debut. A guy that I've known about for a little bit of time. Hasn't really fought all that much in the last two years, but he's a really solid fight, I think. He's a really good addition to the flyweight division. Love the fact that they're bringing in flyweights and good flyweights and bringing back good flyweights and saying that as well, because the UFC let Brandon Moreno go. He fought that LFA champion, stopped him. I think it was Michael Perez, his name was, who's a really good Cuban wrestler, and stopped him, and then they brought him back. So happy to see that they're bringing in good flyweights. That's a good thing regarding keeping the flyweight division around. So I think this is going to be a close fight. I like Askarov. I've been a fan of his. I like Moreno. I still think he's a young kid. I want to say he's 25 years old, so still a young guy. And his losses, Sergio, Pantoja, they're tough losses, but they're to good fighters.
I think he was ranked like number 4 in the featherweight division when he got cut.
Yeah, it's I don't know. This is. I think this potentially to be a really close fight, but my gut feeling when I first heard about the fight was Askarov, because I think just from seeing him outside, anybody that comes up through those, like the promotions that he comes up from and where he comes from, they're tough fighters. They're usually not bad fighters that come out of that region. So Moreno, he's actually been in Mexico longer than what Moreno has for this camp, surprisingly, because he's moved to California. I think Brandon Moreno's live, but I'm going to go with my gut feeling, which was Askarov via maybe a pretty close decision, maybe a 29-28.
Yeah, he's a fantastic fighter to watch as well outside the UFC. Askarov, I was following these Russian cards. I enjoy watching them. People, you can tune in to watch these cards, and they've got some diamonds. You find these names. Obviously, some of the names are a bit harder to remember. His is a bit easier. The parents couldn't be asked thinking of a name for him, so they just did that. But Askar, he's quick with his takedowns. He's quick with his submission attempts, even off his back. He's very, very creative with his kind of striking to takedowns. He's got a lovely mixture of everything. I really like it. But then again, Moreno is so good as well to watch. He's fun to watch, Moreno. Moreno has his hands down a bit too much sometimes for me. Sometimes I find it a little bit frustrating, but and he probably takes one too many shots for my liking. But overall, I think Askar probably should get the decision here. I think he could just probably get the takedowns enough, even though I think Moreno can get back up again. I think Askar could get the takedowns, land a few strikes, and just score it enough, like maybe 30-27, 29-28, but I think Askar should be getting enough to get a win here, because he's a great addition to the flyweights. I think it'll be a lot of fun for people to watch, and he will 100% be on that Moscow card after this.
Co-main event. The Cookie Monster Carla Esparza faces off against Alexa Grasso. This is a good fight. I'm looking forward to watching it. Who you got?
Well, I tell you what, for Carla Esparza, she's found a bit of tough times getting consistency. She said since she's had that title, she's only had 2 wins in a row since she won the UFC belt, and that is it. She did reinvent herself a little bit. She started to get a bit better with the striking, started to offer a bit more than just takedowns, because she realised people were evolving and she wasn't. But Grasso, I think she has surprised me the most, maybe in the strawweight division in development, because I thought she was exciting when she came into the UFC. I thought she's a good addition after watching her on Victor FC, but she just didn't show it. I don't know, maybe it was the big lights, the pressure, whatever. When she came in, and she fought Felice and she lost. I thought, oh no. Then she beat Randa Marcos split, and I was like, okay, she got a win. That's what she needed. Then sadly she got Tatiana Suarez, who's probably going to fight for the 115 belt next. Who's an absolute fucking scary monster, who's going to probably win the belt. And I think Suarez will hold the belt for a while. She had to fight her, but then she was so good against Karolina Kowalkiewicz. And I think Grasso, to win this fight, is simple. Use her 1-2s that she was using against Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Pop those 1-2s out all day long. Straight shots only. Keep the distance. Sprawl like hell on the takedown attempts from Carla Esparza, because Carla starts shooting when she starts landing. Carla's trait is she gets hit, she shoots because she doesn't like getting hit. And then Carla just eventually just start depleting. Just pop those 1-2s all day long, and you will literally make her look like cookie dough rather than the Cookie Monster. So I'm going to go with Grasso. Nice, simple decision win, 3 rounds, piecing up Esparza.
Yeah, I when I heard about this match and when I started looking into a few fights, I really did kind of look into really vastly in this one. This was when I've always been a really big fan of Alexa Grasso. I loved seeing her rise through in Victor. She got an opportunity in the UFC. And she just did not look. It kind of, I don't want to say the bright lights kind of got to her, but she just looked a little bit out of place. She hadn't really found her place yet. And then, I mean, the 2 girls she lost, Herrig, that was probably the best kind of form that she was in her career at that time. Tatiana Suarez is just a low key potential champion. She's going to be a champion probably one day, and got submitted in the first there that she couldn't contend with that grappling. But then, to me, kind of the switch flipped at UFC 238 against Carolina. That was a perfect matchup for her to garner confidence, to gain confidence against someone who's kind of lost confidence and is kind of looking at the other end and maybe moving out the sport, where you've got Grasso, who you can tell is super, super hungry. And then you move on to Carla Esparza here. Like, what's Carla Esparza really hungry for here? She's not going to get back to the title. She's going to be a kind of chip for bringing these younger fighters through to face, maybe win, they beat a former champion. The hunger, and fighting in Mexico, the hunger is on Alexa Grasso's side here, in my opinion. That's fairly obvious to me. But then you look at what Esparza can do. She can grapple, she can wrestle. She had trouble with Suarez. But everybody's going to have trouble with Tatiana Suarez when it comes to grappling, pretty much. How I see this fight going, I see it being really close early. And saying that, Esparza, I think her striking is vastly improved over the last few years. But I don't think she's on the level of what Alexa Grasso is, who really put it all together. If you watch that Kowalkiewicz fight, she landed a lot of strikes on that girl. Really, a lot. I just think this is going to start off okay. I think for Carla, I think she's going to be in that first round. It's going to be a close, could be either girl's round. I think once 2 and 3 hits, I think the strikes are going to start to accumulate. She's going to start showing a bit more damage. She's going to start diving for legs and not being anywhere close to getting Grasso down. Now, if she gets her down, she could have her advantages there. But I see as the fight goes on, I just see her getting picked and popped apart by Grasso's striking, who she really mixes it up really well. And this is a fight that I really shouldn't be talking about because it's over 4 years ago. But you look at the Joanna fight, and I'm not comparing Joanna to Alexa, but she's a striker. She's not on the level probably of what Joanna is, but she puts it together really well. And once Esparza breaks, you can beat her up. And I think that's what's going to happen in 2 and 3 when she starts getting a little bit tired here. So, yeah, I've got Alexa Grasso. I'm pretty confident, actually. I'm probably going to lay a bet down on Alexa Grasso. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So, yeah. And the main event of the night, we've got Yair El Pantera Rodríguez against Little Heathen Jeremy Stevens. Good main event. good fight that I'm really looking forward to. And yeah, it's I've been flip-flopping like hell in this fight. You have no idea. Like, when I first heard the fight, super confident, or not super confident, but I thought that Yair could win. The last week, I've kind of floated over to the Jeremy Stevens side. And even as little as a couple of hours ago, I was watching a couple of fights. I've kind of flip-flopped back over to Yair again. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I really want to kind of bet this fight because the line's quite close. I bet Yair last time out. But the things that's kind of put me off with Yair, now I think he looked best ever in his last fight against Korean Zombie. But I still think he was going to lose that fight before pulling Mary out. I think he was most definitely. I'm not sure what the judges' scorecards are, but I'd be surprised if people had that for Yair Rodríguez. But I thought he looked the best he's ever did, and especially coming back after a fight from Frankie Edgar, where he got dominated, he got beat up really, really badly. Maybe that's what's thrown me off, the fact that the fight before that, he got beat up really badly, and then he took his licks in the Korean Zombie fight as well. But he's got such exciting strikes. He's so unpredictable. I mean, that knockout is one for the ages. You don't beat that. That's a buzzer beater of all buzzer beater knockouts. It is crazy. Comes out of nowhere, the elbow straight up the middle, knocks out Korean Zombie, folds him. Zombie doesn't get up for minutes after that. Then you've got someone like Stevens. Love what Stevens has done here. Went down to Mexico 1st August. Spent 6-7 weeks down in there, I believe. That's the right way to do it. That's well and truly getting acclimatised. And we know what you're going to get with Jeremy Stevens. He's going to be in your face. He's going to be throwing leather. He's going to be throwing those vicious leg kicks that he's got, and looking to throw combination strikes and looking to knock your ass out cold. That's what he's looking for. He's not going to grapple with you. He wants to strike and he wants to knock you out. But he's very kind of rudimental way he strikes. He's got the low kick, but his combinations and his are pretty much the same. Have always been the same through his run. But when you look at Yair's striking, I think he can fight at distance. I think he's got more extravagant strikes. He can throw lots more kicks. I think he can fight at distance a little bit better than what Jeremy Stevens can. And the thing is, if he doesn't exchange and get caught with the big shots, I feel he can pick him apart. But I feel there's times when he's going to take a few licks, and how is he going to react to that? I mean, Jeremy Stevens has fought the who's who of the division. He's fought everybody's a beat. Your Aldos, your Edgars, your Moicanos, your Holloways, you name it. This guy's fought them. Like I say, I am not 100% sure on this fight. I'm going to go with Mexico in this one. I'm going to go with my initial gut feeling before I started kind of changing up a little bit and was on Stevens' side. I'm going to go Yair Rodríguez, but I think he's going to have some tough rounds in there where he's going to have to come through some stuff. It's a tough fight to pick for me. I'm going to go Yair. But is he going to knock someone out? Like Jeremy Stevens, I don't know. He could potentially maybe nail him to the body, like Al did, maybe with a kick or with a high kick. But, I mean, Jeremy Stevens is a hard guy to knock out, full stop. So I'll go Yair Rodríguez for a hard-fought decision victory, but it's going to be tough.
I just checked the scorecards. Yair Rodríguez was down.
He was down, yeah.
He was going to lose that fight for that last-minute Hail Mary. So, you know, I thought that as well, though, looking at it. I had Yair losing that fight. Not vastly, but he was losing the fight. I think it was like 3-2. I think I had it on my head, maybe. It might be 3-2 or whatever. But it kind of said a lot, you know, because I think Korean Zombie is going to be similar to what Jeremy Stevens is. Forward pressure, guard up, taking the big shots from distance to close down and come up with a combination to start hitting your ear. Jeremy Stevens is not a big height disparity either, so it's not like your ear has that usual height advantage. I think Zabit is a different kind of fighter than Yair as well, so even though there's some aspects about him which is similar, I don't think there's not much in it with the striking. It's going to surprise Jeremy. I think he knows what Yair is going to offer. He's going to be a bit, if you give him too much space, but he's going to have to fight the back foot, Rodríguez, and that's what I'm interested in. I want to see how Rodríguez fights on the back foot for 5 rounds, because fighting at altitude, running backwards, for 5 rounds ain't going to happen. You're going to get tired. You're going to slow down. One thing that Stevens has shown is insane cardio for featherweight. He built his body down to featherweight. Like, he went from 55 down to 145, and he is doing insane amounts of cardio. He's got good conditioning, solid chin, which adds to it, and he hits heavy and he's good. And with those leg kicks that Jeremy Stevens had with low calf kicks, that's the kind of game you do with Rodríguez. You take the spring out of Rodríguez, you smash those calves until to next year. That's how I would fight it. If I'm Yair, like you said, Will, I'd do teeps, straights, jabs and head kicks just to keep the guard up of Stevens, to keep him honest, and just do my best to keep him away because you don't want to get him closing in. Because Stevens will start hitting that body shots. He'll start ripping the body over here to bring that pace down and slow him down, and then later rounds start to crank it up a bit. I'm a bit hum and haw in the year. I think he's a bit hit and miss for me. Stevens, he's a consistent guy. He only loses to fucking savages. And I do think Stevens is one of those guys who will never be the champ, but he's always going to be a good fighter. He's always going to be good. And I'm going to go with Stevens, though. I want to go with Stevens on this one. Not overly confident, because Yair's got that wildness to him, like he's shown with the elbow and stuff like that. He's got that rabbit in a hat, let's say, that he could pull out at any moment. But Stevens, as long as he sticks to a simple game plan, keep moving forward, pick those leg kicks really hard at the start of the round, start making it in the first, second round, hit those calf kicks heavy, slow Yair down, get the body shots in if you can, and then third, fourth round, fifth round, you really start to crank it on. And I think Rodríguez could potentially break in that fight, but that's just me.
Okay, so we've got the quick picks out the road for that event. I'm going to quickly go through some of the bets that I kind of have an eye on right now. Last week I actually bet 4 underdogs, went 2-2, and had a slight loss. Oh. I bet Jimmy Crute plus 100, lost. I bet Nikita Krylov, split decision, lost. Bet Augusto Sakai, he was plus 110 underdog. I stupidly didn't throw enough money on him, and that's how I had a loss for the night, because usually I go a little bit higher on underdogs, but I actually kind of went a little bit lower this time, and that's what cost me from having a winning night. Another underdog that I bet on was Uriah Hall. He was a big underdog and came through. So, yeah, this week...
I only had 2 bets on. And one bet came through. I did Sakai and Hubbard. So they came through. But then I had another accumulator, but bloody no contest. I had Jeff Hughes to win and bloody no contest. So it was a void bloody bet. Yeah. I would have paid out for me. But how about
last week I was trying my hardest to look for a parlay, and my parlay that I initially had was Hubbard and Gaethje, but there was just something that kept me away from betting that main event, so I stayed away. But for this week, the bets that I kind of like I say, I really want to. I know I've been humming and hawing on the main event, but there's value in either side. I think it's minus 110 each right now. So, and if one guy hits underdog money, then I think it's a good shot to go for it, especially on Yair's side. So I might make that play. I'm going to bet Alexa Grasso. I'm definitely going to bet Alexa. She's minus 120. Did not expect that to get as low as that. She was actually a higher favourite, and now she's came down, so money's come in Carla. But I really want to see that Alexa Grasso, and I'm thinking that she's going to put it all together in this one. And the only other kind of other bet that I really like, which I'm not sure what I'm going to make, Paul Craig. He's an underdog right now, so that kind of appeals to me. He's underdog money against the guy who has looked terrible in the UFC. And the parlay that I kind of like for this week is terrible. Like, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm possibly going to throw money on these 2 people, and they could easily fuck me in the ass like really, really quick. And that is a parlay of Claudio Puelles and Sijara Eubanks, and it's for plus money. But I'm sitting here, I'm literally coming out in hives, thinking about putting those 2 and putting money on them. But I think they've got the 2 fights there they can make look very easy, but it could also be like really, really bad. And who knows? Would it surprise me if someone got a decision? Probably not. So that's the parlay I'm kind of looking at, is Eubanks, Puelles. But god damn, that's a risky bet to make. So, like I say, what I'm going on this week, I think Puelles, Eubanks, parlay, Paul Craig's kind of appealing to me at underdog odds, Carlos, Alexa Grasso, and potentially Yair Rodríguez.
Nice, bro. Nice.
Yeah, so
What about if you did like a prop bet, like Paul Craig TKO or submission?
see TKO. If Paul Craig gets a TKO, his odds are going to be pretty big. I've no idea what those odds will be. They'll probably come out later in the week, but it might be something to look into because Moreira can't take shots, but Paul Craig's not really known as a knockout puncher, but he could get him ground and pound very easily if he gets in position. So I think you're going to get humongous odds on that if that's the case. So it might be something to look out for. Like I say, I'm a shit prop better, so I really need to stay away from that and stick to my parlays, straight picks and underdog picks especially, because that's where I kind of do really well with underdog picks usually, and parlays. But this is a rough card just altogether. Watching, I think it's not the best well matched. It doesn't look good on the eye. Outside a couple of fights up top, and just betting wise, there's a lot of kind of close-ish fights that you could bet on, but for me, I'm not looking forward to kind of betting wise. Definitely kind of a few bets. I've got a bet on. I'll speak about this now because it's already out there. If you go to my Bet MMA tips, you'll see that I've got a parlay for the next two cards. It's Jack Hermansson, I'm giving away a pick there, and Tai Tuivasa. I've got it for plus money. I'm thinking that's a good bet. I'm thinking. So yeah, but not the greatest card in the world for betting. I'm definitely not going to stay up and watch this card. No way. I'm going to be going to bed. I finish work at midnight. I'll be in my bed for 1 a.m. We'll go up in the morning. Me and my little one, I'll sit and watch some of these fights. But yeah. So that's UFC kind of Mexico City out the road. I did mention UFC Copenhagen briefly. It is next week. We've got a few buddies going out there. Adam, I don't know if Chris and that's going out, G-Man and that's going out for that one in Copenhagen, but I know Adam is. So they'll be looking forward to that card. Actually, there's some good fights on there, and we were talking about Gunny against Gilbert Burns as your co-main event. That's a good co-main event. So they've got some good fights in that. Looking forward to kind of getting in and watching some tape on that. Until next time, for myself and John, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Like I said, keep an eye out. John's got interviews coming with people from UFC Copenhagen next week. So good interviews coming your way. Just hit that subscribe button and help us grow the channel as much as we can. We appreciate you for tuning in. And until next week, all the best.